Hello, and welcome to issues number 22 of Comicentric. I am your host, Cruz, and on today's show, we have our guest, Glenda Delgado, director of Yanantin. It is an Inca inspired multiversal epic of a short story that is playing right now on festival circuits. Come sit down with us and geek out a little bit as we talk about movies, comics, and whatnot with our good new friend, Glenda Delgado. All right, and we're going to start rolling, and then we're just going to take it from there.
Okay.
Is it a movie? Because it seems like it's a prequel to
I
something
know,
bigger.
right? It is a short film.
And how do you say the name?
Yanantin.
Yanantil.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was spent all morning trying to figure out how to say it. It's South American, right?
It is.
Okay.
It's a Quechua word, and it basically means like complementary opposites.
Yeah.
I hope to expand it into something. I don't know. I used to work for Robert Rodriguez, and it's weird that years later, I had seen his 10-minute film schools before, but, I was walking my daughter, trying to put her down for a nap, and I would listen to a lot of podcasts, actually.
Okay.
And I would also listen to some YouTube videos. I stumbled upon and his video was like, make a film, just use what you have.
Right.
And it just struck me like, I have a camera. We got a camera for our wedding.
Cool.
I have a daughter. I have a house. I used to act years ago. I was like,
Okay.
I can use all these tools and make something. So I try to think of something where it's contained. I didn't have a crew. I did it all myself.
Yeah.
I didn't have a budget. So it was just a story that I came up with where I can play multiple roles and have something compelling to tell.
Yeah. You're like Tyler Perry.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I hope I can have his success. My own studio. Oh my gosh. But so, and then my brother has been on this journey for years of acknowledging more his indigenous side and learning so much about it. And he's been teaching me. He has like a whole a big following on social media, and he even has had arguments with like film directors about how indigenous people are portrayed.
Yeah.
John Leguizamo has reached out to him, so he's been, in a sense, waking me.
Yeah.
I feel like, I was raised out here. My parents are Ecuadorian, but my dad came when he was 11 and my mom when she was 2.
Oh, wow.
So
They're raised in this culture.
Yeah, so when people, obviously I look very ethnic and everybody would ask me, like, what are you? I just felt like I'm American. I grew up in East LA.
Yeah, right.
That's my culture. I
That's
don't know.
me.
Yeah.
It's hard to go past that sometimes, because especially with parents, they came over so they can get away from that.
Yes.
So make us what we are now.
Yeah, my dad he's the reason why I'm such a geek. He was, my mom left. It wasn't a bad thing. They kind of decided it was better that I stay with my dad. She was moving out and she had met someone and she didn't want to disrupt our lives. I actually think it was a good decision. But he raised us on films and
nice.
And like, I didn't. People ask me, do you know how to make any Ecuadorian dishes? I'm like, no, I don't. So it's been nice, like, going on this indigenous journey and just really realizing that really is what I am. Like, learning more about the Incan culture. Actually, I was watching a really cool documentary last night, and just exploring that. And I was like, how can I, now it's becoming such a thing. But I actually, when I was doing it, I was like, I don't see any of that on TV. So I feel like maybe some people think I'm trying to, like, do what's trendy, but it's no. I had been thinking about how can we have more indigenous, especially
you see
Latino.
Mayan, you see Aztec, but you never see Ecuadorians, Incas
exactly.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's a whole other genre there.
Yeah. And the way they built their empire in 100 years was unprecedented. Like, their whole culture was different, and it's pretty fascinating, actually. So I just was like, well, what if And then the multiverse thing, it's just like I had thought of that before just as a way to play multiple characters, and then I'm like, damn, everybody's doing that now.
No, but
it's like you
works.
just gotta do, actually the people that did the one with Michelle Yeoh, oh my gosh,
Everything
everywhere all at once. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I love that film. And they said that they were hesitant to do their film too because everybody's doing a multiverse film.
Yeah.
And they just did it anyway. And I talked to my husband. He's like, you just got to do the story you want to tell, and not think too much about that. I did change it a little because of that, but I just still, even in my description, I put, this story isn't about like introducing the multiverse. It already exists because, it's in every film now.
Yeah, it's true.
So
it's one of those things. Even my mom knows what the multiverse is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So instead, I approached it as something that people already know about, and the character is meeting this Incan priestess for the second time. And so, I would like to expand on that. It would be cool to see a world where the Inca survived.
Yeah. Right.
They defeated the conquistadors, which they probably could have. Smallpox took out 90% of them. But the conquistadors were actually really afraid of them. So, and they were very organized. So I was like, man, that'd be kind of cool if there was, we've never seen in the multiverse a dimension where Native Americans survived,
Traditions would have stayed alive, right?
Yeah, and what if they had like superpowers? So that's why I put that in my in my script.
Let's add a little bit of lemon on that.
Yeah, and I'm a geek, so of course, I introduced the Vader chokehold, and I just made it fun for myself.
Yeah.
I couldn't think about like what other people were doing. It's not like the biggest production, but it was so fun to do, and it was a personal story about motherhood.
Yeah, about having those conversations with yourself, really.
Yes. Yeah, it was kind of meta in that way, Everybody was like, oh, is that like how you talk, like you're talking to yourself in your mind? And some people saw it that way too.
Yeah.
And I was like, art's meant to be interpreted. So if that's how you feel, it really is in a way meta that way. It is the conversations we have with ourselves,
Because technically we're two people right inside, so we are having a meta conversation.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so, I feel that's another thing too, is that motherhood is very taboo still to talk about. So, I approached that in the short too, because, I did walk away from a really cool career to be a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
And I don't regret it. I love it. I'm very blessed that I was able to do that. A lot of people can't do that. But because of that, sometimes I felt like I couldn't complain about some of the stuff that I was dealing with, So I felt very isolated because a lot of my friends couldn't do that. They couldn't stay at home, So I kind of wanted to talk about the loneliness. It's very lonely.
Yeah, it seemed that way. No, I'm serious. She felt like you felt that she was alone and reaching out to the multiverse to have a conversation.
To have a conversation. Yeah, exactly. I thought that was kind of funny too, is that you're so lonely. You're summoning another version of yourself, like the irony in that, So, I wanted to talk about that. I have had some therapy and think that helped me realize that it's okay to like feel bad about things, I was basically, I didn't realize I was gaslighting myself by saying that, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this. I shouldn't be feeling this. I should be happy. I should be happy, which I was. But you know what it is? It's like, since I was a little girl, I wanted to work in film.
Okay.
Every part of me wanted to work in film. Everything I did was to work in film. I lived and worked in Vegas for 9 years, but that whole time I was taking film classes. I was like trying to work full time and go to school. My whole life was dedicated to that. I didn't have any scholarships, so I paid my way, and it took me like 10 years to graduate, My whole life was about that. And then, in Vegas, you can own a home. And it's pretty, reasonable. So I had a big house with a pool, and my dad's like, what are you doing? Because I gave it all up. I gave it up to live on, well, first of all, to move in with him again. And then I met someone who's now a good friend of mine through an audition, and she invited me, so basically kind of like a stranger at the time, and I lived on her couch. So I went from this big house to sleep on someone's couch, live out of a suitcase.
That's the sacrifice.
It was a big sacrifice, and then I worked my way up by just working really hard. So then to like let all of that go was really hard.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't realize that it would be as difficult as it was. So like doing this was a way to like kind of my comeback, so to speak.
I like
Yeah.
that.
But like doing it on my own terms.
Uh-huh.
Because the film industry and most industries, you know, they don't care about you. You
Yeah.
know?
No.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted my own, you know, we'll see. I mean, I created something that hopefully will lead to something, but if not, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, I created something.
You got the
know?
juice out
and
of
now,
it, yeah.
exactly. And now I feel motivated to do something again. Another reason why I did it alone was because I was like, I don't want people to see me like struggling with this stuff. This is
Yeah.
my first, you know, did some stuff in college, but like, this has been years. I don't want to like, I wanted this space to mess up and grow
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
process.
Okay, I
you
get
know,
that.
instead of in front of other people.
Yeah. So you did this all by yourself.
I
no,
did
no
it
one.
all by
You know,
myself.
you
I
guys
mean,
tripod and that's it.
yes. I mean, 90% of it. My husband,
Okay.
when he had time, shot some of the other scenes.
Okay.
But I did it all by myself, which was difficult. And
Yeah,
so
I bet.
I was like running back and forth. Is it focused? It's not focused. Is it like it was difficult. And then lighting is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was doing like online film school.
Oh,
Oh
man.
wow. Yeah, because you got to get that split just right. You know, when they're having conversations.
Yes, everything about it was so difficult. I had
Yeah.
COVID.
Oh boy.
And my brother's like, "What are you doing shooting?" Because I got COVID really bad.
Uh-huh.
I was like, I have to do this. Like, I can't. He's like, you could wait another year. I was like, I can't wait another year.
Yeah.
I feel it in my soul. I need to do something right now.
Or else it burns out.
Yeah, exactly. And that fire is a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, that drive is a good thing. You know, sometimes the reasons are like, you know, they say if you're angry, use it, or you're you know, frustrated or whatever, use it to motivate you. You know.
The kindling
Yeah.
for the fire, you know?
Yeah, and I think I was having a lot of like FOMO, just like seeing all my friends, they're becoming VPs and, you know, owning their own companies and all this. And I was like, oh my God. And then I mean, I had to take deep breaths and you know, realize I have my own journey, my own timing,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
it's like, it's going to be
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But it's good to have those things, like use it to motivate you and, you know, you know, continue to light that fire within you.
Yes, of course.
And I used Kim Kardashian as an example to my brother.
What?
And I was like, you know, she got her law degree, you know, with 4 kids. And yeah, she has a lot of help, but she still did it. You know, it still took a lot of work and sacrifice. I'm like, man, that's kind of inspiring.
Yeah.
I gotta just like follow my passion
Yeah.
and do something.
Eventually you'll have a law degree. I mean,
You know, I tell my husband, I'm like, if this doesn't work out, you
Yeah.
know, in 5 years, I might try to go for that. I would like to like be a public defender or like do like, you know, help immigrants and, you know.
that's always
So,
good. That's
yeah.
positive.
Yeah.
That's still on the positive
Yeah,
side, you
yeah,
know?
exactly.
Okay. Jennifer Waters are here. Yeah. She-Hulk, come on.
Right.
There you go.
I do have curly hair like her.
Yeah, and that degree and eyeshadow doesn't help, you know?
I know. What was up with her hair though? It was just like
Weird, right?
Yes.
I don't get it.
I
but
don't know.
It's radioactive, maybe?
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
gonna say
like-
that.
Was it just get bigger? Like, so it just kind of drops or?
Yeah, like
Or
I
something,
didn't
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
understand.
So does it go back into her head? When she, I mean,
Oh,
see?
oh yeah, you're right.
Because it was like short and curly, but in a kind of hunky way. I like short and curly, but it was
Yeah.
like it looks like she has a wig on and like she
Yeah.
has cool hair. Like
Yeah.
I didn't understand like what the purpose.
what the short hair is all about. I mean, I like both of them.
I like both of them,
yeah.
but I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's always been one of the weird parts of that superhero, you know?
It's Marvel. I was like, I could kind of tell she's wearing a wig. Like
Yeah.
it should
Yeah.
probably look. I don't know.
You know what? And just to be safe, She-Hulk looks like she's wearing a wig too.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know?
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's so big.
It's
The-
big,
The
yeah.
whole hair's so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like rivals Peggy Bundy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that big.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kids like it.
Yeah. Actually, my daughter loves it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a
she
fun
does.
show.
It is a
Yeah.
fun show.
Yeah.
So you seen the second one yet, or the first one only?
Oh, the second one came out already?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
No, I'm surprised I didn't see it.
No worries. But that first
Just
one.
the first one.
So that,
yeah.
way, that way we know not to say anything and not to spoil it for you.
Yeah. No, I know, and I'm so weird about
Yeah.
spoilers. I don't watch trailers, and my husband works in the trailer industry.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I'm sleeping with the enemy. And I don't even like casting announcements. I'm weird. My family hates it because I grew up with brothers and my dad, so that's part of why I'm so geeky too. Like I grew up around it, and they're always texting me, like, "Did you watch this? Did you watch that?" And I have to keep up.
When it comes to trailers, I'm weird too. I don't like watching trailers on the small screen. I'd rather go to the theater.
I'm watching the theater. Yeah, no, I walk out of the theater.
Really, that bad?
Oh man.
There was one time I went with my daughter, and she was so cute. She was standing, like in the walkway, and I was standing on the side, and there was like a wall, and she was like, "Stay there, Mom. I'll watch the trailers, and I'll tell you when it's done." I was like, "Okay."
It's looking out for you there at that point, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And trailers are weird now. Like sometimes they won't tell you a lot, or sometimes they'll tell you everything.
Yes.
Like there's no middle ground.
Yeah. My husband, I think the show that had the best teasers was, I think, Mad Men. Every episode was like, we don't know what.
Oh,
or every teaser, we're like, we don't know
when
what
they
that
would just
means.
do the random pieces of dialogue.
Yes, and we're like
what the hell's going on?
Okay.
Because they know you're going to come back for it.
They do,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So they don't
yeah.
really need to do that.
Yeah, which we noticed too. Star Wars any of the shows never had a teaser for the next week. I was like, oh wow.
When they know we're going to come back.
Yeah.
It's good for me.
Yeah.
And it feels like a big movie that way too.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't feel like a show without the teaser. It doesn't feel like a show. It feels like a big movie.
Yeah, you're right. That's
Yeah.
true. You're right. I didn't think about it that way.
I think it's a good thing about the Disney Plus shows. That's what they feel. They feel like long movies.
Yeah, they
And,
do.
You know, sometimes I think the Falcon and Winter Soldier, I reran it from first episode to the end.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it totally
felt
flows.
like a movie.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Even got that little middle section where like it gets all down and done. And,
Did you hear about that guy who cut the Obi-Wan show
Oh, into a movie?
into a movie?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I
Nice.
watched it. It was pretty good. And now they just tried to, or he and another editor just cut the Boba Fett show into a film, but they found that harder because Obi-Wan really lent itself to be a movie, and I think it was supposed to be a movie, so some moments did feel like it was like kind of
it's 2 hours or something. How do they do that?
Yeah, well, which one? The Obi-Wan?
Obi-Wan, yeah.
It was 2 hours.
Okay, because that's 6 hours compressed into 2.
Yes, I know, but he found it kind of easy to do.
Yeah.
The one they found harder was Boba Fett, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that one jumped around a lot.
It jumped around a lot, yeah. And there was more content. They did it.
So
What is it?
Instead of the flashbacks,
Word.
yeah.
Yeah, instead of the flashbacks, they just started from the beginning. Yeah.
Oh.
That makes a
Yeah.
little more sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I get why they wouldn't do it as a TV show because then you'd wait like 4 or 5 episodes to get to the meat of the story.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. And then they had to figure out how to incorporate the Mandalorian
Yeah.
episode.
Oh man, it's all over the place.
That part was weird. It was a really great episode, but it was weird to have it in the middle of Boba Fett. Although I think I read it had to do with production. I think it was supposed to be that Mandalorian was supposed to come out before Boba Fett, and then COVID hit, so they needed that storyline to bring him back. I think. I don't know.
It's funny because I know a lot of people complain about the finale of Boba Fett, but like that's a very Robert Rodriguez movie.
Yeah, I know.
Like I was like, this is Desperado in space.
Yes. I feel like he got a lot of blame, but I think he did what they asked him to do. And I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it. I wish
felt
I
like a
could do it.
western kind of, right?
Yeah,
It was just a big shootout. It was just a big shootout.
Yeah.
It was cool.
It was very cool to me.
I enjoyed that a
And
lot.
not just because I worked for him, he's my friend. No, I thought it was amazing, and he was very kind to I would message him and and tell him that was awesome, and he'd give me anecdotes and
cool.
it was cool. Yeah.
Has he seen your film?
No, not yet. I sent it to him, but he's very busy.
Of course. Have you ever seen him play with his band?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh,
Wow.
absolutely. Yeah, and the band, they're very kind. They're very good. I was lucky.
Yeah.
I got to see him play with them at South by, I think, at South
Oh,
by
nice.
Southwest.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
In that case, you got to see a lot of good bands there, right? Not really? South by Southwest?
I should have. I think I focused more on the films.
Oh.
I remember Café Tacuba played, and I
nice.
really wanted to see them, but I think I ran out of time. But I don't remember seeing many bands, just Roberts.
Yeah.
And then I was working too, so
You're
I
on
think
the
that
clock.
was probably part of it. Yeah.
Were you doing there filming also, or?
Yeah. Well, when I was with him, he shot Sin City 2, A Dame to Kill For. Actually, he did Machete Kills first. That's when I started. He did Machete Kills.
Oh, nice.
And then Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. So it was a very cool experience because sometimes he doesn't always do films back to back like that.
Yeah.
And so he always casts big names, so it was cool to like work with all these people, and he's able to have them there for a day. He's very economical and smart with the way that he works. And like you could see it in the first Sin City with the behind the scenes, how he cut people together that weren't even together.
Yeah. Well, that's a very common thing now, right? Now they do that.
Now they do that, yes.
A lot,
But he definitely is very good about like bringing a bunch of people and like we'll make it work,
we'll figure it out.
And they all come on different days. So I worked with him on those two films, but I met him because I used to work for his partners on El Rey. El Rey's his TV network. So that was how I initially started working for him.
Oh, that's cool.
I flew myself out there. When he got, because to get the TV network, excuse me, it was like a bunch of people fighting for. So I guess I forgot who merged with who, but there were 4 networks that were available, and they wanted to give it to minorities. So like Magic Johnson, I think. And yeah, definitely Puff Daddy, Robert, they all went and pitched networks. And I know Puff Daddy got his was Revolt, and Robert won his bid for El Rey. And so that's how I met him. And then when they announced and that he got the network, I flew out to DC because I really wanted to see it. And I was like, this is big for Latinos, and so that's how I got to know him. And then between working on his films and the network, he just wanted extra help to like navigate some of the stuff that he needed to do for the TV network. And I already worked for his partners, so I knew them well and I could communicate with them well. And I just got lucky. It was just like a really cool year and a really cool experience.
I bet, yeah. It sounds like it was an adventure of some sort.
It was funny because he invited me out to Texas and like to see if I wanted to work out there. In my mind, I was like, yeah, I want to work for you. This would be cool. Yeah. But it was kind for him to be considerate and think like, do you really want to do this? It's I would have to make a big move. Yeah. So I flew out there and like I got to see his studio and everything. Yeah. And the last thing I told him was like, what are your movie theaters like? Because that's big for me. Even when I'm sad, I go to the movies. I'll see a bad movie. I don't care. I love going to the movies. And he's like, have you heard of the Alamo Draft House? I was like, no. He's like, go to the Alamo Draft House. Yeah. So I went to the Alamo Draft House. I don't remember what movie I saw, and I texted him. I was like, I'm moving to Texas. I'm in.
You remember the Alamo?
Yes. Yes. And now there's an Alamo Draft House in downtown LA. And I'm always there.
I still need to check that out. I've been wanting to for a while.
One of the train stops is like right underneath it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, it's even better.
Yes. Yeah. Free arcade. Free movie rentals.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's just like you could see they have a passion for cinema. I love obscure, weird stuff. I love all their posters. They have events. It's just the culture there is really cool. And when I lived in Texas, they were still doing TV screenings. They don't do it anymore. Yeah. But you could watch like Breaking Bad. Huh. Which is how I met my husband, actually. I met him in Texas. Nice. But one of our first dates, he invited me to see Breaking Bad at the Alamo. So they would show like the week before and then the new episode.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so they would make it feel like a movie. And then they would have like a specialty menu with special drinks for the show.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, it's just it's like if I have a movie theater, I'd probably want to do something like that.
That sounds cool, Are you a popcorn and soda kind of person? Like every time you have to get
That's a good question, because I'm not.
No, really? Okay.
I don't like popcorn.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think that's why I like the Alamo, because it's like comfort foods, I mean, Popcorn's okay, but I like it kind of weird. People think it's disgusting, but I like to put a lot of ketchup on my popcorn.
Ketchup, interesting.
Yes.
That's a new one. Yeah.
Gotta try that.
My ex used to put ketchup and relish.
Oh.
And I liked it though.
It just sounds real messy.
It's very messy.
Okay.
So if I do get popcorn, I don't get the relish like my ex did, but but I do get the ketchup, and I get like cups of ketchup, and I like put it in my popcorn.
Nice.
And it's super messy, and most people think it's really gross, but
It's something new to try, I'm telling you right now. Yeah.
it's really good.
Okay. Wow.
It's like there's this place on the street. They have this thing called Biggie Fries. It's French, and like it sounds disgusting, and it looks kind of gross, but it's so good for some reason. It's fries with teriyaki chicken and beef,
Okay.
and Thousand Island
Nice.
and
Okay.
bacon.
I would do it. I would eat it.
Like when they first told me about it, I'm like, that sounds gross. And then when we ate it, I'm like, oh, this is
But
really
it's
good.
always the things that kind of sound gross
Yeah.
that somehow taste good.
Exactly. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's every time you finish it, you're like, I regret every bite, but it was so delicious.
so good.
Yeah. And they do it. They had that Biggie sauce. I guess that's what it makes it. You
Yeah.
know, the
Oh,
Biggie
is that
sauce.
the Thousand Island sauce? Is a Biggie sauce?
No,
Or
it's like
was
the
Teriyaki?
teriyaki.
It's
Oh,
like a
sorry,
ter-
teriyaki.
It's
yeah.
super sweet. Like you could taste the honey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they put it like I like it on their salmon. They have salmon also, and it's so
Ooh.
freaking delicious.
That sounds so good.
Yeah.
The Biggie sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably bad for you though, but you know,
it's,
hey,
it's probably really bad.
yeah. It's
I mean,
coggy.
I lived in Texas for a year. I
Yeah.
feel like everything there is really bad for you. That's funny because the people in Austin are so in shape, and I'm like, how do
Really?
they do? Yeah, they are.
It's probably the heat.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
right.
just shit. It's a
It's
sauna.
also like there's so much to do there. They
Yeah.
have like a natural pool, and they
Yeah.
have bats. They have an urban.
Huh.
The caves, right?
Yeah, they have the largest urban. What is it called? Collection of bats. I don't know. that live under the bridge.
That's scary.
It is scary.
Yeah.
And then they like fly around town in
Yeah.
Austin. But finally, I went to go see them because every day at 6:00, like clockwork, they
They come
all
out.
fly
Oh,
out.
man.
Yeah. So I laid on the grass. I was like, this is pretty cool.
And they don't bug anyone, right?
They don't.
just
Yeah,
do
they're
their
like
thing.
fruit bats. But just like, I
Yeah.
grew up in LA, the idea of like a bat just
Yeah.
flying around my plane.
Yeah,
It's like-
I saw one in La Puente once, and I
What?
tripped out. Yeah, I tripped out because I was like, it was hanging on a wire, like,
Oh
that's
my
a bat,
gosh.
and I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yes.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
was it doing?
Yeah, just hanging out. I'm like, oh, okay.
Aliens.
Yeah, aliens.
You looked up.
Yeah, I did. And see, and he found something.
You look up, you see some bats in LA.
That's the trippiest. No, actually, the trippiest one was when an owl just flew over my head, like, oh, hey, guy, right over me. I was
Oh
like,
my
oh,
god.
yeah.
What?
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's coming at me. It's coming at me. It's coming at me. And it just, like,
Where was this?
I was coming home. It was really late. It was like maybe 2 o'clock in the morning. Coming home, I close my car. I start walking down because I live downhill. I see it kind of on the post. I post it up, and I said, "Oh hey!" And as soon as I say, "Oh hey," that sucker just goes, "Ooh," and it looks like it's coming at me. I'm thinking about it's coming at me. It's coming at me. It's coming at me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and instead of hitting me though, it just flies right over me. And I told my brother next day, I think an owl took my
Why?
soul last
Oh
night.
my god.
Yeah, I think it took my soul.
Maybe it gave you something.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I
I
don't know
mean,
what it
didn't the
was.
owl give Ahsoka life, right?
That's true.
Oh, very much true. Yeah, I wonder what it gave me. And now
It's all perspective,
Yeah.
right?
Instead of thinking, what did it take away? I should have been thinking, what did it give me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I gotta go
The
back
world's
in
always
time.
giving us messages,
Yeah.
and giving us things.
It is. I thought it was a downer, but at the time, I guess now I'm
It didn't
thinking,
poop on you, so.
Ah.
That's good luck, though, right? Like,
Yeah, I
supposedly,
think so. Yeah.
Wait, what?
If a bird craps on you, that's good luck.
Oh man, then my car must.
Oh
be
wait,
full of
I didn't
luck.
know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
bird
yeah.
crapped on me once,
Oh,
right
there
on my
you go.
face.
Oh, man.
That's the best kind of luck.
Maybe.
I don't know. I was in high school and my dad dropped me off, but everybody would take the bus, and I'm walking one way and everybody's walking this way, and the bird just.
Oh. Right when
my
you're
face.
going into school?
Yes,
Oh.
in the morning, and I just was like, oh, I hope no one saw that, and I like wiped it.
Oh boy. Yeah, like you
But I
said.
guess it was good luck.
That's what they say. Like, I remember when I bought the store, And it was in September. And the weeks leading up to it was so hot. It was just super hot.
Oh, no.
And my first day owning the store, it rained really hard. And I remember
Interesting.
I remember freaking out. I'm like, oh man, this is a bad sign or something, right? And people were like, no, it's good luck. It's good luck. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess.
It's like a wedding, you know,
Yeah,
like a
right.
wedding.
Yeah,
in the rain,
it's the day before.
Yeah, right.
The rainbow comes after.
Exactly.
See?
Yeah.
The positivity in that. And we're still here.
They're still here. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So you believe in that? Like signs the universe gives us like that?
I do.
Yeah.
More and more, they say the more you learn about science, actually the more you realize that there's that we don't know a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's more. I feel like we're all interconnected for
Yeah.
sure. I think through meditation, a lot of meditation, and I like to do guided meditation, and they'll talk about how, you are part of the universe, like, you're serving a purpose, like,
Yeah.
the tree is, and there's so much symbiotic relationships in the earth, and it's wild how they
Yeah.
work, that, I think it's possible we're intelligent beings, that maybe the earth is giving us something different, there's a lot of signs that we possibly live in some sort of matrix too.
Yep.
I mean, it is kind of impossible. All the luck that we have that we're alive, the
Yeah.
earth being tilted at a specific axis.
So the sun could get to us at a certain
Yeah.
rate. And,
Everything, even the Amazon, they say that that's the earth's lungs. But it's really a complicated process. It's I don't know if you've seen I forgot what the show is called, but it's on Netflix, and Will Smith narrates it.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good, but it's this whole thing that goes into the water, then feeds the fishes, then comes out, and that's what feeds us. And
Wow.
I was taking notes, and they're called diatrams or something. And
Wow.
it was just fascinating to me. So if all of that is possible, that is literally magic on this earth, I do think it's possible that some things are being maybe messages to us, in some weird way,
yeah.
But the thing would be the more you learn, the scarier certain things become.
Yes, yeah, I know.
You're just like, oh crap, didn't know that could happen.
Yes, well, and even just learning about octopi,
Oh.
how crazy. I mean, they say they are likely aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the thing. The deeper you go in the ocean, the weirder the fish look, right?
Yeah, I do not like the ocean at all. I've gone to the ocean, but I'm so afraid of it. We just don't really know enough about the ocean.
But if you don't like the ocean, and it's not that it's deep, but it's not that deep. There's a universe out there.
I know.
That's vast and bigger
I
than
know.
that.
Why does that scare? Why does the ocean scare me more?
Yeah, right. It's closer to you, maybe. I don't know.
I feel because with technology, we've been able to use stuff to figure out what's out in space to bounce back to us. They use a certain technology to see what kind of minerals there are, but they can't really figure out the ocean.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It's just weird to me.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just the unknown really scares me. It's weird. Aliens scared me for a long time, and I don't know, now for some reason they don't.
Oh.
I think because now I'm 40, I'm you know what? They haven't done anything to me.
Yeah.
They want nothing to do with me.
I think so. I think they're done with us. Yeah.
Maybe they're messing with somebody else,
Yeah.
but they seem to be done with me. Or at least, they're tricking my brain.
I mean, it was a time that you heard about abductions all the time. Now it's kind of every so often.
Yeah.
Yeah. The abductions are weird too because they had similar stories and they didn't know each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
But maybe the aliens are getting smarter about it too.
Oh, right. They found a way to knock us out without, messing with our
Or maybe
minds.
they're starting to have more compassion for us. They're let's
Or they just found out everything they need to know about us
Yeah,
and they're done.
for
Move on
sure.
to the next
We're
one.
not
Yeah.
going back there.
Yeah, we're not going
not good.
I remember when the pandemic was first starting up, someone made a comic strip and it was like a UFO and it's flying by the earth, and then they get in close up to the alien inside, and it's like a family, and then they're like, lock the doors. It's like,
It's not safe neighborhood.
yeah,
Why are we getting such a bad rap?
I mean-
Yeah, they don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
it's fine.
I mean, look who we had as president.
That's true.
It's just like sometimes I'm like, what is happening?
It's like that really happened, you know.
It really happened.
It really happened.
I remember seeing the thing too when he got elected. I think he was in office for a couple months, and someone did a thing. They're like, "Oh, there's no aliens." They're like, because he would have told us, like he would have just bragged about it, you know, like he would have posted it on Twitter. Like,
True, right?
But would you
True.
trust a guy like that with a secret?
You have to as the president, though, right?
I mean,
Oh, and the weird thing is that they get access even after.
Oh.
So once you're president, you always get to be
Yeah.
part of these briefings.
Oh.
So he's allowed to know a lot of shit.
That's-
Like
yeah,
it's
that's
just
scary.
scary. Yeah, it's scary. It's
well,
scary.
I mean, do they let him have those briefings in jail? Because I mean, that's where they're going.
you know, don't tease me. They keep teasing me
Yeah,
with
right.
this, and it doesn't happen.
That's true. That's true.
Like the whole FBI raid, I'm like, okay, but is something gonna happen?
Yeah.
Like, you know, they have a high success rate, so that
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
gives me hope.
Right. But he has a way of sneaking his way out of things.
Well, yeah, now he's
so-
saying that he made the documents unconfidential or something,
Yeah.
so he was allowed to take
Yeah.
them.
I don't think you could do that.
Exactly, they're
Yeah,
saying
like-
there's a process
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, he says these things, and then his followers believe
Mhm.
him. So he does it on purpose, because
Yeah.
then they start getting, you know, excited and
Yeah.
upset, and it's
Mhm.
like,
He's like a wizard to them, you know. Everything he says is magic.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's so weird.
it is
Because it's yeah, like it's all bullshit, dude. Because you hear him talk, you're just like, oh no, this guy's not what he's talking about. He's just making stuff up, and you know,
Yeah.
that's weird.
It's part of like psychological
Yeah.
warfare, and that's
Mhm.
what they teach you to do, to like
Yeah.
mess with people's minds, and he's kind of doing that.
Yeah.
But like, to what end? What's your
Mhm.
purpose, man? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
If anything, we weed out the people that, you know, we know are not that great,
Yeah.
you know.
But I think there's some good people that buy into stuff,
Yeah,
and I feel bad for
misguided.
them. They're misguided.
Mhm.
There are definitely bad seeds, but I feel like there's also some people, like even the people that believe in like Pizzagate and all that,
Yeah.
but they're just really afraid of pedophilia,
Mhm.
and that's not a bad thing.
No, yeah.
But it's just like, you know, it's just sad. They,
Mhm.
you know, they see these things online, and then they go into this spiral.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
there's actually a really good documentary called something Q. I forgot.
Oh,
It's
Q-
about
oh, yeah,
QAnon.
it's about QAnon.
yeah, the Q Nation or Q something.
It's on HBO.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so good, and
Mhm.
you know, they show how some really intelligent people get lost
Mhm.
into this, you know,
Mm.
this misinformation.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because I think I remember they interviewed this guy
Uh-huh.
who was part of it, but he's left
Oh.
it since, whatever. And he was talking to like some big CNN guy. I forgot who it was. And he was like, yeah, like I wanted to kill you because this is that. And I was like, oh shit.
Yes.
What the?
Yeah.
Like they're really that much in
Mhm.
their own head.
It starts
kinda?
off with being a little. The problem is too is that it starts off with people who are like depressed,
Oh.
or they start they for some reason start researching certain things,
Mhm.
and then they get lost into certain misinformation, into this like
Mhm.
spiral.
Yeah.
It often happens that way. And, you know, one of the people that I supported the most was Andrew Yang, because he was like, he was trying to solve the problem.
Yeah.
You know, he was like, well, mental health is obviously
Yeah.
an issue, you know, so he wanted to do free mental health care for everyone, you
Yeah.
know. I feel like he was just trying to start with steps that's going to solve
Yeah.
the issue, because you're not going to change people's minds.
Yeah.
You're
No.
not. But you can do certain things to help these people, like
Mhm.
get
Get assistance, if you will. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, at least start seeing the world in a more positive way.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
maybe not help them out completely, but point them in
Yeah.
the right direction.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
a
yeah.
chancla in
Mm.
the direction.
exactly.
But
exactly.
that's also why he goes after like hardcore religious people.
Yeah.
Because there's that whole mindset of like this
Yeah.
is how it is, and you're not gonna change my mind. You know, like and so
Yeah.
you know.
Well, that's what the hardcore religious people do too.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean it's like a cult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
scary.
that takes brainwashing. So it's
Mhm.
all it's all in the mind,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, it's crazy.
The world we live in.
Yeah,
I
like
know.
the abuelitas that take the word of the Bible like by law, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They
yeah.
spent their whole lives growing up with that, so that's where they're at.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
it's true.
Like we have I don't know if we still have a copy of it, but I think we have a copy of the LA Times where my grandmother was protesting Harry Potter.
Really?
But she didn't know.
What?
Like, they just took her.
Yes.
And so there's a picture of her holding a sign.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Pobrecita.
Yeah.
And we're like,
She's like,
interesting.
That's elderly abuse, no?
No, the church took her. Like,
That's still
well, I
elderly
mean, I'm sure they told her, like, we're going to go do this thing. And it's like, all right.
because she was faithful to the church, she
Yeah.
went and did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now, how does she feel about it?
No, she still doesn't know what she was protesting.
Aw.
It'd be cool if she was a Harry Potter fan.
Yeah,
now.
right.
I know.
Yeah, but that's scary stuff, by the way. You know?
Yeah.
And that's all stuff the government knows about, the brainwashing, the manipulation.
Yes.
You know, they've been working on that for years and years and years.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
But it's like in everything, man. Like, even like fandoms, like, you know, like people that are into certain things, they don't like people that are into other things. And like,
Yeah.
I'm a Star Wars guy. You can't be a Star Trek guy.
Yeah.
Screw you, Star Trek
Yes.
guy.
Oh yeah, that's
Mhm.
getting crazy too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I do think like his idea of like everybody getting mental health.
Yeah.
Healthcare, you know, I get in disputes online, but I try to be positive. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well, this is my perspective. I,
Yeah.
I love it. Like, I try to like be nice to them, and then sometimes I'll be like, oh, that was a good conversation.
Yeah.
I have to check myself too. I'm like, don't get upset.
yeah.
No.
And my husband's like, why are you doing that? I'm like, it's just, I really kind of want to test them out and see, like, can you really, it's a Socratic method where you
Yeah.
have to be open to being wrong,
Mhm.
and ask them questions.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, I would tell them, maybe I'm wrong,
Yeah.
but like,
Yeah.
this is how I see it. And what do you think about this?
Yeah.
You know? And a lot of times it would work, you know?
No, it
You don't
does
change minds, but then they kind of like, yeah,
empathize a little more.
they empathize a little bit more, and they're
Yeah.
not as attacking me. Like, that's the thing, is that we're going straight to name calling.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I got name called for posting something from The View. You know, I don't agree with everything they agree with, but I just like watching it. I like watching everything because a lot of people watch The View, and it's just interesting to see what they're saying.
Yeah.
I disagree with a lot. And you know, there is a big problem with media being connected to the government, and so
Yeah.
it's you know, a lot of times, yeah, it isn't as trustworthy.
Right.
But he was just like name calling me, and I'm like, I'm not even obsessed with. I don't even you know
Yeah.
agree with everything these ladies say. This particular thing was
Right.
true to me, so I
Yeah.
posted it. But yeah, people are getting so nasty and so
Yeah.
angry
Over everything, too.
over
Yeah.
everything. Yeah. And you know, that's another thing why I thought the like the UBI, the Universal Basic Income, would help too, because I mean, a lot of it too is like we can't even pay for health care. You know, we were just talking about buying homes. You know, $1,000 a month for everyone. It's been tested.
Yeah.
I read a book called Utopia for Realists.
Like in
It's
Alaska and
so
stuff,
good. It's been tested in Alaska.
Yeah.
It's been tested in Africa. It's been tested in London. It's been tested with criminals, because some people are like my you know, my family was joking about someone in our family, if we give him money, like he'll never move out or something. I was like, I don't know. The studies have shown they usually do move on. Like there was a study about veterans and how in London, actually, in the UK, and there was 14 of them.
Right.
And the way it works is like, should I wait or?
It's part of the ambience.
So they were like, they had a social worker, and like if you need something like a hearing aid, they'll give it to you, or you know,
Yeah.
they manage what you get, right?
Yeah.
They decided to abolish the whole program and just give them money every month,
Mhm.
and all of them were homeless.
Oh.
But by the end of that program, none of them were homeless. I think
Yeah.
it was just like one that was about to find a place. But that's 14 people
Yeah.
that, and then they were connected with their family again. I think it's more giving people the autonomy to make a decision. Like
Yeah.
even in Africa, they tested it too. Instead of giving them cows and even the water wells, give them money.
Yeah.
They end up surviving more, making their own business, deciding what to do with that money, getting food for their kids. I think that it's just proven time and time again. They give it to criminals.
Yeah.
And yeah, for the first few months, they still were dealing drugs or whatever. But after a while, they knew they didn't need to anymore.
Yeah.
They were getting a stable income
Yeah.
that they didn't even have to work for. And so they got out of crime. So time and time again, it's just Martin Luther King pitched this idea too. It's just proven that it works. So I just felt like Andrew Yang is not always, maybe saying the right things or whatever, but I think he had the right idea to like heal heal this economy.
That could take the basic necessities out of your mind.
Yes, and then you're like, more zen. You're not just like so like ready to attack and like.
And I think that the basic argument against it was like, oh well, you're not gonna have like low income workers anymore. It's like, well then, too bad. Like
exactly.
So you gotta pay them a little more.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, there's automation now, so like it's gonna happen anyway. And that was his point because he has a book on automation and how robots are gonna take over. So if they're taking our jobs, we should charge them for that. And the thing is, like, in most economies, like, Alaska does it because they're doing really well on oil, so everybody gets money back for that. So we're really doing well with technology. We should get money back for that, and we're supporting Amazon. We should make some money back, and they're not paying taxes. It's like, so there's a way, because people are also like, how are you gonna get $1,000? Well, you tax these big companies that are not paying, and he's like, I already talked to them, they're fine with that. You just tax Amazon, that's probably enough.
But that's enough, right?
That's enough, and we're already paying them like for Prime. We're paying them to, and I want to, I do my best to support local businesses, but it is convenient. The shipping's free, everything. They literally have everything, and there are indie sellers on Amazon too. But I feel like we should reap the benefits of how we're thriving in so many things.
That's a good idea. Who knew we could do that?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, even for me, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and my value in the economy is zero. My economic value is zero because I don't make any money.
Oh, okay.
So it would give me, like, even making the short, I could save, and I could have maybe done. I'm proud of what I did, but maybe I could have done something cooler, or with a bigger budget, because his wife, Andrew's wife, is a stay-at-home. She chose to be a stay-at-home mom because they have an autistic child. But she was a VP at a big company and took a step down to do this, and now she has no economic value because she's a stay-at-home mom, and they should get money. So even if he's not president, I feel like at least he pitched these ideas, and I hope that somebody takes them on, because those are like some big solutions to some of our.
It would definitely help out for sure.
People might chill out.
I don't know.
You're like, I don't know. I know.
You just got $1,000. Give me your money now.
I know. I mean, there's kids like robbing all over LA. I keep seeing that. I'm like,
that's
oh my
scary.
God. That is.
Like, they don't even they just pull crap out and and the security guards are right there, and they're just like, they don't care. Like,
they can't do anything.
They don't care. It's wild. It's the Wild West right now.
It really is.
I mean, I hear some parents are like getting their kids passports because we've never been closer to a civil war as we are now. They're saying they did a study of like how different we are. We used to be like this different. Now we're like this off. I mean, we're just so off that we're closer to that now. I hope it doesn't happen. I'm thinking it's more like you're going to end up moving to places that align with your values because they're giving states more autonomy. So like if you're more conservative, we'll live in certain areas. I think that's what's going to end up happening a little bit more, because
more people in Texas, conservatives in Texas, and liberals over here.
Yeah, that's why my husband and I don't want to move back to Texas. Austin is very cool. It's very liberal, but their perspective on women and, what happened with the, during the snowstorm, like, and now people are paying for that, we both wouldn't want to go back.
It's easier, it's cooler, it's better here in California, I'd say.
There's just like, it's just, there's robberies.
We have our problems too, but, I think it's problems we can handle, right?
Owls that fly over here.
Let's try to see your soul. Yeah, no problem.
We have earthquakes, but we don't have like blizzards and stuff.
Earthquakes every once in a while.
We have droughts.
Not enough water to drink, but it's okay. Just swish your saliva around. We'll be fine.
Purify your pee.
You can buy that machine on Amazon.
Exactly.
It's all full circle.
We're brainstorming right now.
We're saving California. Oh boy. recycle your pee, huh?
It's a thing.
Yeah. I saw something. He gets this like machine thing, and yeah, he pulls out the thing, and there's clean water out of him. Like, that was pee, guy. How do you do that?
Oh man, I went to a field trip in
Uh-huh.
high school
Uh-huh.
to I forgot what it was, but they showed a filtration system, and they ran like sewage,
Oh.
and then they were
Wow.
like, "There's drinking water."
Did you drink it?
No, no,
Was it brown still? Or
No,
it was
it was
clear.
clear.
Dang.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, so they could do it.
Where was that?
It was like in downtown somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you trust that? It's a machine. This is like a little tube that they had, and they
I don't know how it works. I mean,
magic.
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 That's fine.
Yeah, it's magic.
Are you guys watching Better Call Saul?
Yeah.
Did you finish it? So there was that scene where he had pee.
Yeah.
Because I guess he was drinking it.
Yeah.
So my
Yeah.
husband was saying, I was like, oh, damn, that's gross.
It's got the electrolytes you need. I don't know.
I guess. I mean, they say it's sterile, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you want something sterile in your belly?
No.
No, can't do it.
Uh-uh.
No.
It's all right. It's like eating a bunch of alcohol wipes. I don't think so, you know? It's okay.
That's so gross.
It's clean on the inside, but I don't think I want it there.
No, we got that taste in your mouth.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sheets of the characters, and Boba Fett, they talked about how he had little guns on his knee pads.
Yeah.
And he's like, we never saw that. He goes, so I said, I'm gonna do it. You know, he's gonna
Yes.
he's gonna fire out of those knee pads.
Yes. And I loved his Boba Fett
Yeah.
episode in Mandalorian. I messaged him. I was like, that was amazing. And he told me that his inspiration was like, I wanted him to be like Conan the Barbarian. And I
Wow.
was like, yeah, that's what it was. It was cool.
Yeah, the coolest thing about that episode too was it because most of them they're shot in that 3D, what is it called, with the walls, the projection walls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That it's
But-
like I don't know what it's called, but I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah.
His episode, it looked like it was outside.
Yes.
Like it looked like an actual film.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like,
yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Did he do it
No.
outside?
Maybe.
Oh.
I think he did some, but I think he was very excited too
Yeah.
because he loves new tech.
Yeah.
Robert loves new
Yeah.
technology,
Okay.
and the more economical you can
Mm.
get with things, and because he's very much inspired by George Lucas,
Yeah.
and George Lucas's whole thing was like he wanted people and directors to be able to like create
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
that just come out of their mind and like at an
Yeah.
economical way.
That's why we have ILM, right?
Yeah.
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 Like, that's crazy when you see old footage of that. Like, they just took pictures of these ships.
Yeah.
And it just, like, cut them into the film. And you're like, how did they do that? Like,
Yeah, there's a whole documentary now too on
Yeah.
Disney Plus about how ILM got started.
Yeah.
And it was like all these kids or random obscure people just making stuff at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what made it. That's what made the movies great. you
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
like when you
I
look
know,
at
like-
the Millennium Falcon, it's just like a bunch of model kids, like, smashed together.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like,
know? Yeah.
this is weird.
All right. So, I mean, we talked about your film. We talked about obscurities. We talked about weird stuff. Is there anything else you want to talk about with us today?
I mean, so that's what I
Mm-hmm.
was telling Pete is that, I was introduced to comics as a kid,
Okay. Cool.
but I stopped. I mean, obviously because I grew up with my brother and my dad's at that point I feel like the day changed, didn't it? The comic book day?
Yeah.
Because I feel like back then it was Wednesday.
It's still Wednesday. It's still Wednesday.
Or
but,
was it Thursdays? I feel like it was a different day.
Yeah, no, before it used to be Tuesday and Thursdays.
Okay, that's what I remember.
The only
Yeah.
reason I remember that is because I was at the comic store every
Every
Tuesday.
Tuesday, yes. And my dad took me every Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember one time was so exciting because it was a cast of like Fantastic Four, and that movie was never
Oh,
released
yeah.
though. It was never
Wow.
released.
I love that movie. It's so fun.
Well, I love the one that I got to see with Jessica Alba.
Yeah.
But there was one before that. Apparently, I never saw that one.
It's on YouTube. You can
It's on
find
YouTube?
Yeah, you can find it.
Oh, okay. Well, the cast was
Yeah.
there. And I was like, what happened to this movie?
Yeah.
And it was a cool experience. And I remember even then I was drawn to the dark stuff. I was like, give me the vampire stuff. And I loved Rogue. She was one of my favorite
Right.
characters. And then, it stopped. I became a teenager. I was like I was thinking about boys and dating and like getting out of the house and like, but then years later when I started working in film, I was told that like, well, first of all, we had to look up comics for content,
Oh.
but I was told that a lot of comics are optioned
Yeah.
too, actually.
Yeah.
And actually, comic book store owner told me that, and he was like, because I was like, I want to find something. He's like, everything's like option. I was like, okay, let me look at these indie art, let me see. So that's how it kind of began. And then when I was working, I worked out of the Jim Henson lot for a while, and I was right next to Meltdown Comics. And my friend introduced me to Saga. And that opened a whole other door for me. And I'm wearing an Image t-shirt actually right now.
Right.
Believe in comics.
Nice.
And I then became obsessed. I was reading everything Image had. Like Alex plus Ada is one of my favorite series.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's such a good one. I finished it. I actually, you know how Brian K. Vaughan has To Be Continued, and he has his recommendations, and that was one of his recommendations, Alex plus Ada. And I actually reached out to the writer and the artist, and they responded. I really wanted to like help them make their stuff hadn't been optioned.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, this is really beautiful. The way you're telling this story. And it has this little bit of like, you know, the not so distant future, and the way you open her up is very much like the way you open an iPhone box, and like you just press the button and she works. And, you know, and I do think that that's something I would like to write too, is that I do think that it is the future, you know. I mean, it already is here. And AI is just becoming more and more and more intelligent, you know, and we're arguing more, like, so we're like isolating ourselves more. So I told my husband, like, I'd like to write a romantic comedy with an android.
Oh my God.
Because right now it's the love stories with androids, like her. I'm trying to think of other ones. There was a show out as well, I think Human. They're all they're very dark. They're very much like Dark Tales of What the Future will hold. Dark Mirror has an episode too. And I was like, well, what if we make it like just accepted and it's like a romantic comedy, you know?
That would be cool.
I think so, you know.
There's dudes in Japan getting married to their AI.
They are. And you know what? If they're happy, they're happy.
Yeah.
What are you going to do, you know?
Right.
So, you know, that was a comic that really spoke to me. Saga spoke to me. I know it speaks to a lot of people.
So
but
when people come in asking, especially for independent stuff, and then they're like, oh, and I ask them, do you know have you heard Saga? And they say no. I run into the issue of like, how do you explain that book?
Yes, yeah.
You know?
Well, I stood in line to like meet Brian K. Vaughan, and he asked me, because I go, I haven't read in comics in years, but I started reading Saga, and I'm obsessed. He's like, well, what was their pitch to you? Why do you why do you like it? And I just got like nervous.
It's a hard story to describe.
Yeah,
you know?
and I'm trying to remember how my friend pitched it to me too. Because it's not Star Wars.
It's not Lost in Space. It's not Swiss Family Robinson.
It's not Battlestar Galactica.
And because there's magic too.
There's magic.
Yeah.
Wooden ships that fly.
Yeah. You know, it is a little like Romeo and Juliet, a little bit, with the two families feuding. You know, it is about like race, you know, and you know, between the two beings or whatever. But yeah, I don't know how you pitch it. I just say, you know, it's sci-fi. I don't even know how to pitch it myself.
No, it's hard.
Honestly, but I've tried too, many times, and it is a good start when it was a good start for me to get back into comics. I think for me, what he did was he showed me the visual, and I remember just seeing, you know, Alana holding the baby, and like, you know, you never see really well, I mean, maybe you do. I had just started reading comics at the time, but like a person of color as the lead character, and both of them look like people of color, you know, and they're having an interracial baby, but she's so badass, she's so cool. That spoke to me. I mean, from the first page, he draws you in. You know, that's it. You just read the first page, and it draws you in. But yeah, it is hard to describe, you know. I was like, I think what I told Brian K. Vaughan was like, because it's like Star Wars, but not like Star Wars in a good way.
In a good way.
because it goes to places that Star Wars doesn't
Yeah.
go.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but yeah, it is a space fantasy.
Mhm.
It is a space fantasy. You know,
Yeah.
but that's where I started, and then I started reading. What else? What is the one with Fables?
Oh yeah.
I
Nice.
love Fables.
Yeah.
Fables is really good. I started reading Why the Last Man. I'm almost done, but I almost don't want to finish it because
Yeah.
I just love it so much. I've been on the last book for years.
Oh,
I'm like,
man.
I do that
Yeah.
sometimes. I'm like, I don't want. I read all of Twilight and
Oh.
didn't finish the last
Oh.
book. I don't know. I just like I don't want it to be
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. Yeah. So, but Why the Last Man was amazing.
Yeah.
It was so good. And again, like. I saw Brian K. Vaughan at a panel for Paper Girls at Comic-Con, and he's like, I don't write specifically because it's female. It's like I just appreciate females. I have a lot of friends that are female, so he writes that way for that reason, and I feel it. It feels authentic.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it doesn't feel like he's trying to like write to me, like in an authentic way.
There's no patronizing.
It doesn't feel
no pandering,
patronizing. Yeah. It's really cool. And like, why has that? The whole thing is female characters,
Yeah.
except for the one
guy,
guy.
yeah.
And that concept itself is
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
I remember when I
you
was
know?
reading it originally, I was like, dude, these girls are acting like dudes.
Yeah.
What's going on here? They're fighting, feuding and stuff. But then it's like, no, everyone has that,
Yeah, well, the weird thing too, it's funny that you say that because I tried to pitch it at a meeting because
Yeah.
at that point it would get optioned, then it would get lost, and they would lose. People would have it and they would lose it, and
Yeah.
they tried to write it into a film.
Yeah.
I got that script once, so I was like, Why the Last Man would be great, and I was trying to pitch it, and I was like, basically it's like this pandemic happens and all the men die, and it's just
Yeah.
women. And they're like trying to survive, and she's like, this sounds horrible, it makes women sound horrible. I was like, and I was like, I don't know how to explain
Yeah.
this to you, but it's actually not.
Yeah.
It's like really cool.
They do some horrible things, but no, it's okay. It's for the greater
I was
good.
like, they're trying to survive,
Yeah.
and like men have the commentary on it too. Like there were more men in certain jobs
Yeah.
that they had to figure it out,
Yeah.
and then like they showed. I mean, the show didn't survive, but
Yeah.
they, just like how depressed some of them got losing their children, how depressed some of them got losing almost everyone, and like
Yeah.
what that we were just talking about mental health and like what that does to you. And women are crazy, we are crazy. I'm
Yeah.
joking, but you know what I mean. So I think the stakes are so high that people are. I don't know what I would do. I mean, I was raised by my dad and my brothers,
Wow.
and they would all be gone, and my
Yeah.
husband would be gone. It would just be me and my daughter, and I don't know what a lost woman might do out of
Yeah.
desperation. Like I'll do anything to defend my baby.
Of course.
So I think you just go into survival mode. We all
Yeah.
have it in us. We're all actually animals too. We're not,
Yeah.
we're not. I mean, we might be special beings. I don't know, but we all have a reptilian brain.
Yeah.
We evolve. We have animal instincts.
yeah.
So, yeah, that one was really good.
Yeah.
So you're saying is we revert a little bit back if stuff like this would happen. We go back a little bit more in trusting ourselves
Yeah.
than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe.
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 Because we have to survive somehow,
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
if everything, like I say, for example, if it was the other way around, I lost my mother and stuff like that. My support group of people I knew, it's kind of like, what would I do? I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Yeah. I think that's all you can do. I mean, you're just going to have to try to survive, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody deals with trauma differently,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Some people
Yeah.
eat. Some people, go out for a jog. Some people do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Different,
Yeah.
Trauma's.
There's definitely lots
interesting.
of remedies, whether or not people use them or
Yeah.
do them. It's hard to get there.
Yeah.
With why it was kind of like, and then you don't see women like that depicted in comics too. So like the Amazons were really cool,
Yeah.
and I guess it was a thing to like cut your breast off. So it was just like,
for the bow and arrow.
yeah, I didn't know that, and
Yeah.
apparently it was a real thing. And I was like, oh, so borrowing from history to write these
Yeah.
things, like,
This book is like 20 years old or around this
Is
time.
it?
Yeah.
I think so,
Oh
yeah.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
I was sad the show didn't survive. You know?
It wasn't the same. It didn't feel the
It
same.
wasn't, but I was like, just give it time to
Yeah.
grow. You know, we give
Okay.
other shows sometimes time to grow and maybe put it on a streaming service, you know,
Yeah.
because Breaking Bad wasn't, it actually didn't do well. It was
Yeah.
when it went to Netflix that people picked it up and started binging it. You know, even Encanto, nobody went to see
Yeah.
it. I went to see it, and I was like, this is amazing. And suddenly, I was kind of disappointed that months later, oh, this is a great movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it was a great movie. Y'all should have gone to see it, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, you never know. Maybe it would have found its audience on a streaming service. I reached out to the showrunner. I was like, I don't know that many people, but I'll reach out to who I can. I want this show to survive. Like, there's not shows like that, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, I think the problem was, and what I was telling you too before, is that they tried to do backstory maybe too
Yeah.
much. And I don't think people wanted to go right in just like the books do, you know? But the backstory was cool because you get
Yeah.
to see like how the Amazonians came to be. Like it was good. I think it was finding its foot.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed it. I mean, I think I was geeking out so hard on the premiere night. I was like, I had like 3 glasses of wine. I was like buzzing, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so excited! This is gonna be a show. Oh my gosh, it's coming to life. And so I just, as a fan, was just like really invested and wanted to see these stories. And Agent 355 was
Yeah,
so
it was badass.
well cast.
Yep.
I thought she was so well cast.
Yeah.
She was so cool. So I think it just needed its time to like grow a little bit.
To
you
expand
know?
itself,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wish they didn't cancel it so fast. You
Yeah.
know, some shows that first seasons are kind of slow.
Yeah.
You know, and they get their chance.
Yeah,
to
'cause it was
kinda
right
run.
away, right? Like
It was right away, and I was like, "Come on, this
Mm.
is a big fandom," but it didn't
Yeah.
have a big enough
Yeah.
audience. But I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, try it on streaming." You
Yeah.
know?
You know what? They tried it at least. 20 years ago, they probably would not have tried it.
Yeah, it's true. I
Yeah.
mean, they were trying to make it into a film, and it never
Yeah.
happened. And the thing is because that story is too big to
Yeah.
make into just a film. Yeah.
I think
So-
that's the coolest thing about streaming right now is that we're getting a lot of shows that are based on these independent comic books that we wouldn't have gotten like 5-10 years ago.
Yeah,
You know,
it's true.
You know,
Yeah.
I think it was like Sweet Tooth. I was tripping out that they made a show out of that. You know,
Yeah, I haven't read that one,
Mm.
but
And
that
then-
I watched it.
yeah,
it
and that's
looked
one of
so
those
good.
comics where like I would tell people about it and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, like
Human hybrids, what?
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that series done?
They keep bringing it back. They keep
Really?
talking about like when the show came out, they did a miniseries that continued where it ended.
Okay.
And there's talks that they're gonna do more, but I don't
Oh,
know.
interesting. I really liked
Yeah.
that one. My husband and I still watch Walking Dead. We
Oh.
still are obsessed with Walking Dead.
Okay.
I haven't read all of it. I've
Mm-hmm.
read some of it. My dad got the compendium,
Mhm.
and
Nice.
he was in the hospital a few years ago, and I was just like
Oh.
reading through it. But I love the idea. I don't know what it is. I think I love to see what humanity does when they're in survival
Yeah.
mode. That's probably why I liked Why the Last Man.
Yeah.
It's just like an exploration of like
Yeah.
our minds and how everybody reacts different, you know?
Yeah.
And like, so like with Walking Dead, I tell my husband, I'm like, because he's very sweet, but he has a temper sometimes. But I'm like, but if we're in apocalypse, just let it all out.
We're going to need that.
Yeah, we're gonna need that. I know we'll survive.
I think that's what people keep me around sometimes.
He's
Yeah.
very mild mannered.
Yeah.
He's very sweet. He's a gentleman. He's from Texas, but sometimes he's got a little
Yeah.
temper, and I'm just like, okay, when the apocalypse happens, just let that
Well,
reach
there's
come out.
there's a one-shot graphic novel about Negan, and we see him
Oh.
before the apocalypse.
Yes.
And he's like a gym teacher.
Yeah.
And he's like hanging out with these high school students.
Yes,
and you're
they
just-
actually did a episode of that.
okay.
They did, yeah.
And it's so weird because then all of a sudden, like
They humanize him a
and
little
then
bit.
You're like, oh, he becomes that guy. Like,
Yeah. Did they show his girlfriend in that?
yeah.
Or his wife, I mean?
Well, yeah. In the comic, he has a girlfriend.
Okay.
And then they're in bed together, and he tells her like, "Oh, my wife has cancer," and she's like, "Why would you tell me that? Like, like what is your?" You
Oh,
know,
he had a
like-
girlfriend and a wife.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
and the comic is really sad too because I think he's visiting her in the hospital when everything goes to shit,
Yeah.
and she dies from the cancer, and then she
Yes.
wakes up as a zombie,
Oh.
and he has to take her out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do something like that on the show. He doesn't have a girlfriend. It's just the wife, but she's still sick while the apocalypse is happening. So he's still kind of nice, you know. You could see shades of Negan.
Yeah.
Like he's like stealing, trying to get her medicine for her cancer, and he's like, you know, going to different camps and trying to figure it out. Yeah. And then, you know, he runs into dark people who just don't really care that she's dying. Yeah. And I think that's what kind of turns him, and she ends up dying, and like then he calls his bat.
It's just, yeah.
It's the rage.
Yeah.
And you know, there's also a Walking Dead short written by Brian K. Vaughan.
No, I didn't know that.
It's called The Alien. It's pretty good.
Ooh. Yeah. I gotta read that.
It's really weird. It's trippy though.
I like weird and trippy.
It's a Walking Dead book?
Yeah.
It's like a short, like a side story?
Yeah. No, he he started this company where it's all online and you pay whatever you want to read the stories.
Okay.
And he did a book called Private Eye. It's really cool.
Okay.
And Kirkman was trying to get him to print that as a trade through Image. Oh. And he didn't want to do it because he was like, no, it's probably an experiment, blah, blah, blah. And so one day, Brian K. Vaughan took over the Twitter for the studio.
Okay.
And asked me anything. And Kirkman was like, when are you going to print Private Eye? And so he jokingly told him, he's like, when you let me do a Walking Dead story, I'll do it. And Kirkman's like, do it. Like, just do
Oh
it.
my gosh.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That's a cool story.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to read that.
Yeah, it's The Alien. It's a prequel to Walking Dead. It's pretty cool.
So is it a trade back or a whole, like...
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's really cool. I love everything, so far, everything he writes.
Yeah, and also, like, what was it? Did you check out, there's a book called Ex Machina that he did?
Yes, but I didn't read it. I am familiar with it.
It's really good.
It's good?
It's really interesting.
Okay.
It's hard.
How does he write so much?
Yeah, right.
I'm here trying to develop something, and he's like just writing things, writing on TV shows, and they're all good.
Yeah.
I saw so he was doing a signing on the booth. You have to wake up early for that stuff, and I'm like, I'm never gonna make it. Yeah. But I walked by, and I had blood all over me. I was dressed like 11, and I go, Brian K. Vaughan, I love you. And he turned around. He's like, I love you too. He just seems so nice too. Like, and then I love his like what he writes in the back of Saga. Like, you know, he's just so good, but like so kind, you know, and not like I don't know, full of himself. I guess.
He's been doing it for a while, so
he's been doing it so long.
He's got that wisdom that comes with it.
He does. Somebody actually sent me, because I was trying to figure out how to pitch my comic, so they sent me his original pitch for Runaways. It was really cool, and they were telling me to model it after that. It's just hard because it seems like everybody kind of wants something different. Like Image says, we only want this. Like we only want 5 pages drawn out. But they don't ask for like character drawings, and that's how he pitched it. He had character drawings and character breakdowns, which is kind of like how you pitch a TV show. So I was like, okay, I get that. It's like a TV Bible. But I didn't have any of that ready because Image doesn't ask for any of that.
No. It's just sampled, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I do think the biggest thing is they want a cover layout or something.
They want a mock cover.
Yeah, mock cover. Yeah,
to see if you understand marketing is what they say. Yeah. And the 5 drawn out pages, they don't even have to be colored. Yeah. And not even a full script. I think it's
it's just a pitch, right? Just a synopsis pitch,
Yes, just a synopsis. Yeah.
And that's what it takes to get into the business, huh?
Yeah, but
it's hard though.
Yeah.
There's so many people pitching the Image now. Like, I've spoken to artists like the dancer artist. He told me, he's like, you need to know somebody. Like you need to know someone to get your pitch pushed.
Yeah. I met one girl that worked there. I was so nervous, so I had my little comic book, and my friend, he's a comic book author, and I was trying to get advice. He's like, okay, they may not take your pitch, but you got to try.
Yeah.
And I was so nervous. And it's weird because I've been on the other side. People used to pitch to me. So it's just like, oh, my God. But I'm nice. So, a lot of people, they're not like that. I know that. They're just looking at you like, okay. Yeah. Or like, you're wasting my time.
You know the look. You know everything about that.
Yes, and it was like giving me anxiety. But I did it. And one girl from Image did give me her card. And I was was
Okay.
very thankful for that. And I emailed her my pitch, and she passed, but she did it, within like 2 weeks. She gave it a good, amount of time, and she
that's good.
answered. Yeah.
Yeah,
She even
okay.
answered when she got the pitch and said, "I'll take a look at it." So I was
right.
very grateful for that. I got to pitch at Webtoons,
Oh,
which
nice.
is really cool. And my friend did think that I could maybe get it there. She basically told me, well, the sad thing was that she passed in a day.
Oh.
I've never even done that when I would pass on people.
Wow.
Never in a day. I was like, in a day? Jeez.
Wow, yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, give me a 2 days at least. She passed in a day, and then she said to do the the self-publishing part of it, and then see how that goes. I was like, okay, we'll see. But all that takes like funding.
It's a lot, yeah, a lot of
I have to
time,
pay the artist.
Yeah.
Because I've even asked, the author that I do know, is like, can I like have a deal with the artist? He's like, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You want to pay them. It just gets like complicated, and like especially since I want to retain the rights, and a lot of times he's like, they don't do that. You usually split it with the artist.
Yeah.
But it's something that was like developing for like 10 years, so I think I just felt really like close to it, that I felt weird splitting it in half with somebody.
Yeah.
But I think I may do it like a novelization
Oh,
instead.
that'd be
I don't
cool.
know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still thinking about that.
You got options though. That's the thing.
Yeah. After that girl passed in a day, I took a break from that. I was like, I still want to go back to it, but the thing is that it's such a big universe that I want to like be involved in it. And when you're new, there's going to be a lot of hands involved. So I think I needed to like just try to do my best to make a name for myself. I don't know what that's going to be, what the universe is going to give me, whether it's going to be in a writer's room or partnering with someone, but I have to like establish myself.
Yeah. And you're open to all these,
Yeah, I actually did some ghostwriting for the first time.
Oh, nice.
That was really cool. I did it while I had COVID. The first day I had COVID, a producer reached out for me to write. He had the outline, and I wrote like 20 pages in a day.
Wow.
Because I was like, I don't know how bad my COVID's gonna get, so I'm just gonna
Knock it out.
Knock it out.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Nice.
It was pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
I might die, so here's all the work I can make. Wow.
It was my first paid writing gig, so it was really cool. I just wish I didn't have COVID.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just out of curiosity, I mean, you don't tell us what the pitch was, but what genre of comic were you trying to pitch?
Sci-fi, fantasy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like Star Wars is a big inspiration for me. And it's something that I wrote in college,
Oh,
actually. Cool. I was taking a screenwriting class, and it was about the hero's journey. And I just did it for fun. I was like, I'm going to make this fun. I'm not going to just try to write the greatest thing ever. I'm just going to have a lot of fun with this. So, and at that point, they just wanted us to do a 30-minute screenplay.
Wow.
And so I did this like sci-fi story, and I wanted to do it coincidentally, kind of like what Saga did. There was a huge thing on immigration at that time because of 9/11.
Yeah.
And so it's just, and then I'm actually not Mexican. My family's Ecuadorian. But my ex-girlfriend at the time was Mexican. She came here undocumented and was adopted, and it's just, the whole situation was sad to me that Mexicans get attacked for things that other people do, and like the terrorists came in through Canada. It's just so I wanted to write about that in my little sci-fi short, and I had like this planet that had a ship that was orbiting the planet, and people were afraid of what that was. They had a fear that these people had diseases, and like having them come, and they were basically looking for help because their planet was destroyed or whatever. And so one person, a female character, is sent on that ship to like take them down. And what I write is that when she's there, she's conflicted because she sees they're just people that need help.
Yeah.
They're just people that are sick. Like, and I'm supposed to take down this ship by myself, so I was writing about that conflict, and then I like to have mystery, and I was writing that she was like somehow connected and to these people, and and there was like mysterious things happening, and like I was just having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
What surprised me is that the power of the pen. Like you give it to, you're supposed to pass it to your the students in the class.
Okay.
And I came back after they had read it, and everybody's like, what happens next? I want to know what happened. I was like, oh, okay, that's a cool feeling, and I really like this story. So I expanded on that. It's not that, but I created a whole universe now, and like with different religions. I think it's hard because there are comics like Saga out there, but I think I write different. Yeah. I'm inspired by different things. I want to tell personal stories, like the main character, I am basing it a lot on myself. Like, I'm pansexual, and so she is too, and like managing that as a youth, like understanding what that means, and like, when I was dating, after I broke up with my girlfriend, everybody was like, how are you dating guys? Like, how, I feel like guys couldn't deal with it. They felt like, you were with her for 9 years. That means you're just like girls. I'm like, I was loyal for 9 years. I was invested in that relationship. So I want to explore that. They're very personal stories, and I think that's why that lady maybe turned it down. Is that maybe it seemed like I was trying to pan too much to what's happening today. But these are all like such personal stories to me, and I've been developing it for a long time. So it's not the full pitch, but that's kind of like the themes that are in it. Yeah.
Sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Thank you. It's called Universal Tales because I felt like I wanted something epic, and I was like, and all these, and like I wanted to show stories from different people that exist today, and use it in sci-fi, and like the idea that all our tales are universal, but they're not really told, and so
that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
We'll see. I want to go back to it, but I think after she did that, I was like, I need to take a break because I had worked so hard on it, and she did ask for like character descriptions, character drawings. Like I had to do a full pitch. I had to reorganize I got a new artist, so that was hard too. I had to like describe him, everything I wanted, and like I had to do the strip like a webtoon strip. Yeah. And I lost my letterer, so then I had my husband to do it, and we were working late doing the lettering. I actually liked that he did it because I could sit next to him. Yeah. Because a lot of this stuff you're working with artists and you're just emailing back and forth, But I could sit next to him like, oh no, I like it here. No, I don't like that line actually how it looks, And so that experience was really cool, actually. My friend's like, that's kind of like delivering a book at the end of the month. Yeah. Like, that's how it feels. I was like, I really liked it. It's really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, you're a very creative person.
Thank you.
Movies and writing, it's like you're there.
Let's see what happens. Like, I'm putting it out there now.
throw.
It's weird because I feel like they say certain things happen for a reason. I was trying really hard to just be behind the scenes. Yeah. Even though the little girl that wanted to work in film always wanted to be a creator, always wanted to be a creative. I always said, and when you write, what do you want to be? I want to be a writer. Right. But once I got into film, first of all, I started out as acting. But then I hated that because I'm Latina and I was given all the like stereotypical roles. I remember I went to audition and they were like, have an accent. I'm like, I'm not going to give you an accent. Like, it's just so dumb. Over a role that didn't need it, or give me attitude. And it's just like, we're not all like that. As I say it to them with attitude. Yeah.
That's funny.
We don't all say A and fool.
I know, right? Yeah. So, I was very turned off by that. And then my first gig was interning with Brett Ratner at Rat Pack. Yeah. I was like, all right, this is cool. Let's let this take off. And I got really far. Obviously, I got to work for Robert. And then after that, I worked at the Henson Company. And after that, I got really good opportunities. I worked at Universal Pictures. Yeah.
But again, all behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. And I think what happened, too, is that... I don't want to say too much, but I don't think that I was accepted for being pregnant, and I get it to some degree. I don't get it, and I do. I remember being on the other side and hustling really hard. I would work till 3 a.m. That's what they expect, but I loved it. I loved it. I was like selling my soul, basically, but I loved it. Like, and that's how I got noticed. That's how I got moved up really quick. It's just I was hustling so hard. I was meeting with everybody, every writer, everybody. I wasn't the type of person like, oh, I don't know. Like, I'll meet with you. If you want to meet, I'll meet with you. Let's talk, you know. Because you can really create something really great with anybody if you just work together, you know. If you're on the same page, you know, even if something's not fully developed, if they have something, you can make something out of it, you know. So you know, it was exciting, but I think at the same time that industry is just so cold, you know, and I feel like everything happens for a reason. Like it's all leading me back to like what I originally wanted to do was to create, you know, and I always got along more with the creatives anyway, more than like the executives because they're business minded, and that's not bad. It is a business, but my mind couldn't do it. Like, you're supposed to memorize all the production companies, and that's good. You're supposed to do that. But I was so bad at that because I don't think I cared enough about that stuff. I just want to create. Like, let's make something, you know. So I think I was too much of a dreamer and creative to like have that kind of job because I just want to make things. Like I can't. I'm okay with being business minded. You have to be. But I don't think I could, like, the way they do it all day long.
Then the pregnancy was a blessing. Then it was. You focus and let you make what you want. You know?
Absolutely.
That's good stuff then.
Yeah. I think, everything happens, for a reason. Yeah.
I get it. I'm starting to see that, you know? Wow.
And it was a blessing to be with my daughter all those years. She's so cute and so sweet and so interesting.
Fine actress, by the way.
She is. And I tell her too, I'm like, do you want to act? She actually, so she did have an agent. My friend reached out and she's like, you know, your kid's really cute and she looks kind of like biracial. So, and and she was like, a lot of people cast for that because she can kind of be a lot of different races. Yeah. And I was like, okay. And so she ended up getting an agent. I was like, all right. But it gave me a lot of anxiety.
I bet, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was triggering my memories of it. I don't know. I just didn't feel good people judging her. And they were nice. Nobody was actually mean to her or to the kids. But it felt really weird to, like, put her in this situation. She was still a baby. I don't know. And I don't know. I get the worst. And it could have been postpartum, too. Who knows? And she actually was chosen to be in the People's Choice Awards with Joel McHale. He was hosting it, and she was supposed to be like part of a gag where he's saying that he's bringing out Angelina Jolie's babies, and it was like a stroller of like 20 babies. Oh boy. And she was chosen, but she had a backup baby because she started crying. And then I just took her out of it. But I asked her, because I don't want to be that parent that like denies her her dreams. I wanted to act when I was a little kid and do stuff, and I know there's dangers to it. You always hear and read about it, but I also hear that if you're like Elijah Wood said, his mom really grounded him, and like if you're really, you know, just support your kid and not push them. I would never push her, you know. I'm just gonna follow her lead. So I asked her, I was like, do you want to act? Because you know, I know some people. I could probably get you in. She's like, no, because it feels like work to her. And it's true, it's work, you know. And she's a diva. She was asking for so many breaks, so many snacks.
If she's an actress, it's gonna be one of the good ones then.
Right.
You know?
Right. She wants to be a scientist, which my husband and I think is so cool. She's been saying that since she was 2. She's 6 now, and she wants to be a paleontologist. Oh boy. Yeah. So we thought she'd want to be something creative because my husband and I work in creative fields. I want to be a scientist.
No. I think it skips a generation.
We're like, okay, that's cool. Like, we named her Friday because we were like, she's going to be creative like us. And that's like, you know, it's like an artist name. And like, she can make T-shirts that say Friday. And no, she actually just changed her name. Yeah, to Delgado, which is my last name. And she wants to be called Delgado. And this like broke my heart. I was like, I love your name though. But it meant so much to her. We couldn't believe how much it meant to her to change her name till Delgado. She watches this cartoon called 101 Dalmatians, and there's a dog called Delgado. So now she goes by Delgado at school.
That's crazy. Same last name though? I mean, or is this the whole just Delgado is their moniker?
Well, so we told her that her last name's Delgado Esquivel, but it's not officially that. She just thinks it's that because we've been wanting to change her name to have mine and his last name, but she's actually in her birth certificate just Friday Lily Esquivel. But so at school, I told them this is her nickname. So it's her nickname. Her nickname's Delgado.
Delgado, okay. Just like people call me Cruz. That's my last name.
Oh,
you know?
cool.
So, I get it. I get it. I,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
And people have told me, oh, like she already told some kid at the park that that's her name. And that person's dad was like, that's a really cool name.
yeah, it works.
It does. And I used to be called Delgado, actually. People really like how it sounds.
Yeah.
And they would say, hey, Delgado. But still, she was my Friday.
Little gal Friday. Aw. All right. We're going to come to the close to the end here.
Yeah.
Anything you want to pitch?
Well, my short is playing at LA Live on Saturday, September 17th at 12 p.m.
When this airs, it will be that Saturday.
Oh, will be?
Yeah.
Okay.
This
Well,
airs on
I'm
the
sure they'll
14th.
still have tickets.
So,
So, yeah, I mean...
LA Live.
LA Live, so if you want to see it, go see it. My Instagram handle is GG Film.
thank you.
And you can find a lot of the content about my film there, about me. I have a YouTube channel too. I'm a cosplayer. I'm a complete geek weirdo, but I'm also like a deep weirdo too.
Yeah, it seems so. It's pretty cool though. Yeah.
So yeah, just
That's
find
it.
me there, and I hope people see my short.
Nice.
And then after a while, after it premieres there, it will be available online.
No, because
No?
I'm still pitching it to different festivals,
Oh,
so I have to
okay.
wait. They don't allow you to have it
Okay.
available online if you're gonna have it play at festivals. So I
Okay.
have to let it run the festival circuit first. And it's gonna play in Vegas right now. It's played in the UK. It's
Yeah.
played in Italy.
Wow.
I won an award in Italy for,
Nice.
and it makes sense because it feels like their vibe. It's very like indie and
Yeah.
different.
It was
different.
trippy. It was
It's
trippy.
definitely trippy.
Yeah, for sure.
I was grateful downtown LA chose it, but they say that they like any genre as long as it works, and
Yeah.
like
Oh,
they
yeah.
support Latinos. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm very excited that they're
Nice.
gonna show my film. But yeah, and we'll see who else selects it.
That's awesome.
Real
Awesome.
cool. Real cool.
I look forward to the success of that. Really, I
Oh,
do.
thank you, thank you.
So we're friends on Instagram now, so
Yes,
we'll
yeah.
be able to talk to each other there as well.
Yeah.
So if anybody else is still listening to you guys, thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, Mr. Peter, always thankful
Oh,
for you.
yours.
And you guys have a good morning, good day, good night, and bye.
Bye.
Bye.